other things could be somebody else. There are people who really even know what you have, but they are ready to kill your vision. So would you sit down and allow that comes back to you? Are you going to allow yourself to rise against all odds? Is also up to you. And when you look at the world we live in, those people who have made it, believe me, some of them came from a setting which everybody would tell you this person won't make it. Like Steve Jobs. He came with Apple. He became a millionaire. But when you read his background, he was not highly educated. He was one of the people that people would think, oh, this man would end up becoming maybe nobody in life. So we are all these things are God-given. And sometimes even parenting has to do with, parents can become hindrance to children discovering their talents. And the third is the environment plays also a major role. And it doesn't matter where you are. There's no preference. Whether you are from Africa, you need to be in Europe to make it. No, that's not what I'm saying. But your environment, you could be in Europe and you still would make it. You can be in Africa and you make it, and somebody in Europe or America would not make it. So environment also contributes to become a hindrance to our talents.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. We just have a room for one more question. But before we go to that question, I want to say something. You see, we've been talking about talent. I want to confess that personally, this program has been a benefit to me. Why? Because there are some things that I've not realized that sets up as an impediment, to talent. For instance, somebody himself can even become an obstacle to that talent. Now let us take a classical example of somebody like Stevie Wonder. He's a blind man, we all know him. He's an organist, he plays the piano very well. Now you may take, for instance, that you have one or two impediments there, but there is something that God has put in the inside of you. So we ought to learn how to look beyond, what we have as an obstacle, and look at those things that God has put in the inside of us. Sometimes when you start looking at your environment might discourage you from becoming, from utilizing that talent. So having said that, I want us to, take the last question for today, and then we'll continue with this, segment.
Ike is my name. I have a question that bothers me. I hope I will get the answer. And my question is this. Can someone recognize his or her talent without putting it into use or onto use? Can somebody recognize his or her talent without putting it onto use?
Yes, thank you for that wonderful question. Now, if I may have to paraphrase it, it's like somebody doing something, but you've not really realized that is the talent that God has given to you. I think that is what he's trying to ask. Now, is it possible that you're doing something, but you have not realized that this is the talent that God has given to you? So, our pastor, please, can you help us to please?
Okay, I don't know. I was thinking, is it possible to have a talent and don't know what it is?
Sorry, that's what I thought as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that what you mean? Is it possible to have a talent and you don't know what the talent is? And so you don't end up using it?
That is difficult, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I would approach this question by saying we all need to have one of these characteristics. We need to be teachable. We need to be open, have people speak in our lives, have people help us discover some of the things we don't have. And when they point it out, are you willing to work it out? So we all need people around us that would help us. And one of the things I also know, they said procrastination is a lazy man's excuse. Some people call it an excuse of fools. Because people sometimes know what they have. But the strength to start doing it is not there. They keep telling themselves, I'll do it tomorrow, 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 and tomorrow never comes.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful answer. And lastly, I just want to, create room for grace. There's a sister in the house that really needs to answer a question. I believe that question will be of a benefit and a blessing to not just the audience, but also to the viewers at home. So let us give her the opportunity to answer a question.
I'm Mary Bang. I would like to just ask a question and say something. I have been struggling in discovering my talent. A few years ago, I went to the best hairdressing school, Netherlands, Kappas Academy. But I found out that it is not something that I want to do. I was funny hair all over me and flashing. I didn't really like it. The question I want to ask is that, is a talent aim-board thing, or is it one that is inquired?
I think it's both. We've been mentioning this in the beginning. You see, talent used must be backed by passion. And sometimes what you are going through is a general problem in our days today. I'm a father of 5, and you see young people. My son started, I want to go to a business school. He started after 2 years. No, he doesn't want to go to a business school. Now he wants to do sports. It's something that we are confronting in these days. So I believe Enoch mentioned it in the beginning of the program. How are you going to walk in what you think you have? Who are you consulting before you start moving in it? And like all of us, we make certain decisions with.
Now, our brother Enoch, perhaps you still have a contribution to this, a very question. And let me bring it to our attention. We still have just one room for one question. I believe that's a very burning question, and that is the very last question we're going to take in the house. But before then, I want to give our brother Enoch to please give us his own contribution about the last question that was asked by our sister.
Just 3 points to add to what Reverend has already said. You want to know exactly what you're born to do. Get books on leadership. Read about them. People who have discovered their talents, and they have written books. They are Christian books. They are secular books which can enlighten you on how to recognize your talent. One of the things you have to know is what thing can you do without anybody paying you? What is that thing that you do? It just gives you satisfaction, whether you're rewarded for it or not. Know that. Secondly, what is that thing that you do and you don't struggle? It just flows naturally. That's one of the things. And thirdly, what is that thing that you know you're not doing it because of the benefit you want to get, but because you want to render service to people? That's a God-given talent.
Thank you so much. Thank you for that contribution. And now we're taking our very last question before we draw the curtain for tonight's program, and I'll throw it open. I'll give our sister, one of our sisters in the house, an opportunity to ask a question. Let's listen to her.
Yeah, my name is Rachel. I believe we have parents here. I want to know how parents can help their children to develop and utilize their talent.
Okay, thank you so much for that question. So, our sister, Mrs. Wendy, I want to, throw that question over to you. As a lady, please, can you tell us how can a parent, help their children to develop, not only developing, but first to identify, after identifying that talent, to develop it and to help them also to utilize it? Please, can you help us with an answer to that question?
Well, I think I can only answer the first part because my daughter is only 2.5 years old. So trying to find her talent is already a difficulty sometimes. So maybe I can answer the first part and I will leave the rest to, Reverend has the oldest children, so maybe he can answer the rest of the question. No, I think it's very important with children that you look at, you let them play whatever they want to do and just observe them when they are playing. Because you will see automatically that some children will take lead when they play with other children. And that comes naturally to them. some children really like to play, to color the whole day. Maybe they will become wonderful artists. Some children just love to run around and climb into trees. Or maybe they're just people that like to do something with their hands or physically. I think you just have to observe your children from when they're small and see what makes them happy and what makes them smile. And what makes them feel good, and they will run to you and they will just say, "Mommy, Mommy, see what I did." So I think you have to observe them to see what they like and to see how they develop later in life, and then how you have to support them. I will leave that part of the question to the Reverend. I think you can, yeah, well, it's difficult for me to answer that now.
Yeah, it's quite difficult because parenting is a difficult job, you know, and your children, if your children are successful, we cannot necessarily attribute it to good parenthood. And if they fail, we say it is through bad parenthood. Because it has a lot to do here. You know, you do your best as a parent, and as the children grow, they need to make the final decisions. Having said that, as parents, we have a responsibility. Our responsibility is like what you have said. So we need to be supportive. If you find out what the child wants, we need to support the child. We need to instill certain disciplines in children. Because as parents, sometimes in thinking we are helping our children, we are helping them the wrong way. One of the ways is a child might say, "I like this, I like this." And when you don't give the child might cry. But to let the child have his or her way, you give the child that thing, you might not be helping the child as well. The child might grow up and think the world owes him or her things. Whatever they need, the world has to give them. They don't grow to find out that, no, we have to work towards getting other things. And saying no to a child can also help. So I think parents have a role to play by being supportive, commend them, and tell them, "Oh, you've done well," find out what they like. But from my 5 children, I'm now a grandfather, I know that, you know, it's not everything they say they like from the beginning is what they end up to become. I mean, all of us, my father wanted me to be a lawyer. My mother wanted me to be a doctor. I end up being a pastor, so I'm doing both.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. I believe this program has really been a blessing to most of us, or can I say all of us that are listening, not just those that are here, but also the viewers at home. And at this junction, we are going to draw a curtain to this program, and God bless you all.
To say thank you to everybody that came to this program. I want to say thank you to our guest speakers. You are really blessed and talented. May God increase your wisdom and understanding. I want to say thank you to all members of Renaissance Group. Thank you for your commitment. You are not just members, you've been a friend, you've been there. And may God bless you in Jesus' name.